Back on Mad Dog Live with two special athletes. I said special Olympics before. I meant Para-Olympics before. Dennis Oler, of course, and Todd Schaffhauser. Guys, good to have you aboard. Both, now, above amputee and below amputee.
That's right.
Fill me in on what all that's about. Tell me how this works. Go ahead, Dennis.
I'm a single below the knee amputee. I lost my leg in 1984 in a car accident. Todd is a single above the knee amputee, and we're both sprinters. I became disabled again as a result of a car accident and have gone on to run 100 meters as a below knee amputee in 11.7 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's moving.
That's scooting. My goodness gracious, when you consider that the 9.2, 9.3 for the world record holders.
Yeah, 9.7.
9.7, is that the record?
Yeah, well, 9.7 was taken away from Ben Johnson.
9.93. 9.93. Boy, that's only a second.
Yeah.
And Todd, and how about you? What's the record for you? Was it 15.6, I think?
15.2.
15.2, and that's, both you just set that just recently, correct?
Yeah, well, I did mine in '88 in Seoul, and Todd just broke his world record.
In Assen, Holland, 2 weeks ago.
And your accident, yours was 84?
Mine was 85.
85, so you both would have been at it. And how old are both you guys? Mid-20s?
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. No, I'm 30 now.
30 and
21.
21. Wow, so both
a decade.
Obviously.
Decade younger.
When this happened, obviously, just a tremendous have to deal with that kind of this disaster, and you hung in there, and you got, I guess, into it both pretty quickly as soon as you realized that you could do something with it, and didn't fret and went after it, right?
Yeah, it was a gradual thing for me. Like most people in our society, when it happened to me, I really, your life ends, and you really don't want to have anything to do with sports. You don't even think about sports. You don't even think about walking again. So for me, I went to an international game that took place.
There you go. Take some shots at you.
Yeah. And this was right before we went over to Holland.
88. Oh no, this is recently.
This is just training, doing some run-throughs, actually, and this is like at maybe 30%. I can
see Todd how it's that above above. It's a little harder to get down there, huh?
Todd lost his as a result of cancer. Mine was a car accident.
So maybe, I mean, not to get morbid here, but maybe you could deal with it a little better because you had some time to think about it. Where for Dennis, it was such a huge shock. Is that a fair comment to make?
Well, it was going through chemotherapy for a year and a half. It takes a much longer time, and the effects from chemotherapy on my heart, leaving scar tissue on my heart and lungs, and it's and very emotional, of course, for everybody.
This guy is incredible. If he's my personal inspiration, he doesn't like to hear this. He's like my younger brother.
Well, that's it.
And the doctors, okay, they have no idea why he's able to do what he's doing. Okay, permanent scarring on his heart and lungs. Yet the guy can run 100 meters in 15 seconds. Doctors told him to spend time behind a desk and get a job working behind a desk. Okay, and this guy has gone on. He can run a quarter of a mile, okay, leg over leg, which he pioneered. The way that you saw on that videotape, running leg over leg. If you remember the Terry Fox story.
Sure, the guy who went across Canada,
Across Canada, that's right. He did it, which is called hop skip. He's the first guy to pioneer this and to set a whole new standard on amputee athletics.
Unbelievable.
And has refaced everything.
How long does it take? I mean, 6 months after all this? 6 months after you lost leg? 3 months after you lost leg? I mean, how long did it take you to
a year and a half.
A year and a half for you, huh?
I was inspired by the Terry Fox story.
You were?
And I saw it on TV.
That was sort of the key for you, that one thing?
That was the key for me, that I wanted to go into sports. And my mother was the key because she pushed me into it, knowing that I wanted to do it.
Life goes on, so to speak. Watch Terry doing that great thing. He ran a marathon every day, didn't he, or something like that? It was something incredible. So you said, hey, listen, I can do this too. And you picked it. Did you play? Did you run before the whole?
I never ran track before.
Never?
No.
Dennis, how about you?
No, I played soccer. I was scheduled to sign a contract to play professionally 3 weeks before I lost my leg. Yeah, a team called the New York Nationals now disbanded. They were like in existence for 6 months in the American Soccer League. And for us as athletes, that's probably the hardest thing in the way of getting recognition. Here we are busting our humps, literally, and getting not even a third of the recognition that professional athletes get. Or let's go even one step better. How about looking at like Olympic athletes? You look at the Carl Lewis's, you look at the other athletes who have the opportunities to do endorsements, contracts, and everything like that. What about these disabled athletes like myself, like Todd? guys that do...
Doesn't come across, does it?
No, it doesn't happen at all. You know, major corporations...
Is it because
right now,
is it because people? I mean, let's face it. Do Americans? Everybody gets a little squeamish about it. Is that the reason? Because the big advertising agencies are afraid that people don't want to see an amputee athlete. I guess that's got to be it, right?
They don't know what to expect to see. They think they're going to see people out there not doing what actually myself and
Not running
Dennis
it in
can do.
15.6 seconds, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as an above-the-knee amputee. But if you even go further than that, you know, as children, we were never educated, okay? But now that, you know, so the major corporations, okay, I think that they grew up in a society of just not really understanding people with disabilities, okay? And, you know, when you look at the market, you're talking about 48 million people who are disabled in the United States, who are disabled in the United States alone. You know what kind of market that is?
Well, I'll tell you, the only place that I have seen it on commercials, which has had a good effect and it's done a lot of things, is that old Drexel Burnham spot where they did with that basketball player, I forget his name. Remember the hoop player?
Sure, it's Billy Denby who does it for DuPont.
The DuPont, I'm sorry.
Which won a Clio Award.
Which won a Clio. That's the only time that I can recall as just a TV guy watching it that I remember something like that.
And that event has helped so many disabled people.
It's motivated. He can do it, I can do it, right?
That commercial impacts so many
The
people's
impact
lives,
is incredible.
even people that aren't disabled, because from them watching it, it's so inspiring.
Dennis and Todd.
We're having an event next year, July 13th through the 18th. Okay, the first time this has ever taken place. The U.S. Organization for Disabled Athletes is sponsoring this event right here on Long Island. Anybody who wants to come out and see it, anybody who's disabled should come out and get involved and try to make the team. This is the qualifying event to go to Barcelona in 1992 for the Paralympics, and it's going to be hosted for the first time on Long Island. It's the U.S. Disabled Sports Championships / Paralympic Trials. It's going to host over 2,500 athletes, okay, from the United States. Russia has already accepted an invitation, Canada, Korea. It is going to be big, real big.
So we can see it in Long Island.
You can see it right here in Long Island. I mean, you know, it's going to take a long time before corporations begin to really get behind disabled athletes. But once they do, I mean, when you talk about the market, what would make you buy a chocolate bar, one chocolate bar from another? It's whether you can identify with the product, okay? I can guarantee you, even one of the guys that works on the staff here, Stu, when we were talking to him, he knows two of his friends who were in car accidents and now paraplegic or quadriplegic, okay? It's opened his eyes, okay, to the whole it will never happen to me syndrome type thing, okay? Of, you know, getting involved in accidents. It happens to. Everybody knows somebody who's disabled, okay? Start supporting people with disabilities, and you're going to be surprised how that's going to relate directly to sales. It's got to. I mean, it's common sense in marketing, you know? I mean, Todd and I do programs for Nassau County. We go out and we do motivational seminars for children that are in 6th grade, okay, and for seniors in high school. You know, you can tell them the kind of impact that we've had.
Biggest impact for us. I mean, just to be able to go out there and be
see
a
the
role
reaction,
model.
see that life goes on.
Well, the reaction is not actually what you would expect when a disabled person comes in. Because in a kid's eyes, in a child's eyes, when we walk in there and when we leave, they think of us as an athlete first.
Not as that's the special thing.
Being,
if you guys, that's the special accomplishment. Not so much that you're an amputee, the fact that you're the athlete, and then who happens to have world class. Let's bring that into
world class athlete.
Dennis and Todd. We come back with these two special guys here on Sports Channel Mad Dog Live. We come back right after this. Stick around. Todd, from the Paralympics, the amputee athletes, who have been world-class athletes. Take a look at the graphics there, Dennis. First to you. Right. This is now. When did you do the 100 meters at 11.7?
I was in Seoul in '88.
It's 88, right?
It was 11.7.
11.7. What was the second one up there? 15?
24.3 for 200 meters, and then quarter mile in 56.
Wow.
56 seconds.
56 seconds for a quarter mile running. I mean, is it the speed that's harder to do as an amputee athlete, or is it the long distance that's harder to do?
Overall, it's I think speed.
Todd, you think
to get your legs to move that quickly? I don't know.
When you have you're running with a dead weight.
Yeah, what the heck? I'm used to that.
No, I say longer distance.
It is longer distance, you think? Because of what? Because you're carrying around that weight?
Oh, the extra dead weight brings more oxygen is needed for it. For me, anyway, having cancer and with chemotherapy, the longer distances are more of a problem than sprints.
How about getting out of that gate right off the bat?
Let me tell you something. It took a long time. I mean, what the product of, seeing those times up there, that's a product of years of training. I mean, that's not, you don't
You guys just aren't showing up and doing this.
You don't strap on a leg after you lost it and say, hey, here I am, I'm going out on the track, I'm going to run. We're dedicated athletes. Many people have tried, and that's what it's all about too, but you have to realize that this took years of training. I lost my leg in '84. I didn't start competing until '86, 2 years after my accident.
So in 2 years, you're in the Olympics.
No. Okay, I started competing in '86. It was 2 years later. 2 years later after that is when I finally accomplished the end result, and that's running 100 meters in 11.7.
Wow.
Okay.
I thought that, and then 15.6 for you, Todd. I mean, that's just...
Same thing, 85 and 86 was my first competition.
How difficult when you first get started with it, right after all these problems happen? I mean, after 2 weeks, God, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stop. I mean, that's got to go through your mind, right?
Mm-hmm. The frustration came in the beginning because the guys you tried to go against were just incredible. I mean, for an above-the-knee amputee to run, there's only been a couple of people which have gone under 16 seconds, myself and one other guy in the United States. And
we're pushing the threshold of sport,
no question
because there was a time where above-the-knee amputees couldn't run under 16. He's on the verge of going under 15. He just ran a 15.24, okay, 15.2 over in Holland, okay. When I started competing, they said there was never going to be anybody that could run under 13. Then there was never going to be anybody that can run under 12. Well, my own personal goal now is to try to get under. I said 11, but I want to try to set my goals accordingly. A big thing that I think most people need to realize in the way of goal setting, okay, is to put things into perspective. And I want to go under 11 seconds someday, I hope. Okay, but
11.7 now.
I'm at 11.7 now. Okay, I'm hoping to get to 11.5. And I've learned a lot in just training and everything else over the last couple of years. And I think that if I could get the kind of coaching that the Olympic athletes get, not that we don't get we have a very good coach, David Balsley, okay, but we're talking about specialty training, we're talking about full-time training, we're talking about training that a guy like Carl Lewis or a guy like Leroy Burrell, or these other athletes, okay, give us a corporation to support us and let us do the endorsements for them and give us the opportunity to push this thing to the limit. They're not giving us those opportunities.
All right.
Okay, they're really not. And give us the opportunity to at least try and see how far we can push this sport. You're talking times that people, with 2 legs can't run. The norm of our society.
All right, let's take a phone call for you guys. Joe, we got some phone calls out there for you. Dennis and Todd, and Joe in Seaford is here on Sports Channel. Joe, go ahead.
Hi, Mad Dog.
Hey, how are you?
Great show.
Thanks, guy. What's up?
Well, quick question. I believe I've seen Dennis in a few commercials.
Well, there's money-paying commercials anyway.
Well, all right, and I know Todd mentioned about the Terry Fox inspiration, and he's seen the story. Have any of you guys been approached to do some sort of deal like that, or movie? And if so, would you?
Personally, I've been approached every time I get on television, or any time somebody like Todd might break the world record. We get people that come to us and want to buy the rights, quote unquote, to our story, to our life story. And half the time they're off the wall kind of people. So you really haven't had the opportunity to really sit down and talk to anyone substantial. But would we? Absolutely.
But the bottom line is, though, if you're an amputee athlete, I mean, sure, you want to get the corporate world involved and you want to get the coaches, but you also, more so, I would think, want to be the inspiration. I mean, the job is, okay, it'd be great to do a commercial and it'd be great to do this and great to do that. Bottom line is, you want to go out there and you want to be an inspiration for the young kid who gets in trouble, right?
That's what we do right now. I mean, we do that. We did over 150 programs in Nassau County, 6th graders and seniors in high school, 2 different programs as inspirations.
You want to be a role model, you want to be an inspiration, and I learned just to be patient, and in time things will come up. It happens. There's so many things in my life which I want to do, and if that ever did come across, it would happen.
Where's the next goal? Where do you guys go from here real quick? I mean, get ready for the '92 Olympics in Barcelona. You got this Long Island stuff coming up to qualify. That's it?
That's right. Well, no. We're going to be going to the Amputee National Championships, which are going to take place in England next year in Nottingham.
Wow.
But the big event is going to be here on Long Island, the U.S. Disabled Sports Championship, July 13th through the 18th, and that's sponsored by the U.S. Organization for Disabled Athletes. They're in the process of trying to raise tons of money in order to pull this thing off. which is going to be a tough feat for them. And that is the qualifying for 92, the 92 Olympics.
You guys will do well, and you're a good inspiration for everybody. Well done. Todd, good job. Thanks for coming by. Dennis, always a pleasure. Be good. Todd, Malcolm Dead. Sports Channel, Mad Dog Live. We'll come back with some final thoughts on our Monday show, the fourth one we have done. Stick around. Thank you.